Welcome to Sports Sunday. Roy Hodgson will have a fully fit squad to choose from for England's Euro 2012 opener against France. We're live in Donetsk and we'll hear from the manager and captain Steven Gerrard. We're also live in Poznan, where the Republic of Ireland opened their campaign tonight.
Well, the latest from the French Open final and the third test at Edgbaston. We're also live in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix, and the leaders are out at the St Jude Classic, the final tournament ahead of next week's US Open.
First then to the England camp, and Roy Hodgson has no new injury concerns for England's Euro 2012 opener against France. Live to Donetsk, and our chief news reporter Brian Swanson. Brian, what did the England manager have to say?
Yes, thanks. Welcome to a very hot, a very humid Donetsk as the England players continue their training pitch side in the stadium behind me as they prepare for tomorrow's eagerly anticipated opening group game against France. And the good news for Roy Hodgson, as far as he is concerned, is that after a pre-match build-up dominated by talk of injuries, he has a clean bill of health as far as the 23 squad players are concerned. All 23 of them out on that pitch and warming up. The broadcasters are allowed the first 15 minutes of training, and we can report that everyone who should have trained did train, including of course players like James Milner out with blisters earlier on this trip. John Terry, there were questions about whether or not he would be fit with hamstring worries from him, but as far as Hodgson's concerned, everyone is fit and ready for selection for this game, as expectations now grow about just how England can do in this European Championship.
I just hope they play like they're capable of playing. You know, we have a team, full of players who are major stars in their own teams in a very, very competitive league. The Barclays Premier League is widely regarded as one of Europe's top leagues, and I see these players performing week in and week out and playing to the very best of their ability. My hope has got to be, of course, that we can reproduce some of that form as a team and as individuals when we get onto the field tomorrow night and in the next couple of matches which follow. Everyone's fit. It's 23 players will be out on the field. I'll have a chance to select from a fully fit squad, so that's very, very good at this stage. I don't think anyone really expects after 3 weeks someone to have had a chance to sort of totally perhaps stamp his mark on the team, but I've worked with Stephen before, I've worked with Glenn Johnson before. The way that we go about our business is not so different to the way players go about their business in the Premier League, so it's the team that I'm selecting, it's the team that I'm coaching, it's the team I shall take responsibility for.
I wouldn't encourage them to walk off the pitch, but if they come to me with a complaint that they're being racially abused, I'll address it with the referee, and then I think it's the referee's responsibility to take it to UEFA and they make the decision. I'm in no place to make a big decision like that, but I'll certainly support and help my teammates in that situation.
How much will you miss Wayne Rooney tomorrow, and how is he coping with not being able to play in the first 2 matches of the tournament?
Yeah, he's fine. I'm sure he's frustrated. I'm sure he regrets doing what he's done. In fact, I know he regrets what he's done. But he's fine, he's coping well, and he's itching to get these games out the way so he can get out there and play himself. And any team in the world would miss Wayne Rooney. He's a world-class player. He's been one of the best players in the Premier League this season, and we're hoping we can be in with a good chance of qualifying when he comes back in the third game, and he can be the difference for us to get us into the latter stages of this competition.
There we go, Steven Gerrard, the England captain, also at the news conference, and Brian, he sounded pretty confident ahead of that first game.
He certainly did. There have been plenty of questions towards the England players, towards Roy Hodgson, about the weight of expectation in light of the fact that they do go into these European Championships with some key players injured. It was put to Gerrard and to Hodgson whether expectations were as low as they have ever been before a recent major tournament, and both laughed and shrugged that off and said there are always expectations when it comes to England. And having been around the England camp in the last few days, there really is cautious optimism that they can do here and they can do well. What was interesting in that news conference was Hodgson was asked whether or not, if he was the manager at the time when he decided to keep the team in Poland, but knowing their games with Ukraine, would he do the same? That's what Fabio Capello did, and Hodgson said yes, he would do the same. He said that he has defended the Football Association's decision to keep the team based in Poland, only coming in for the games 24 hours or so before kick-off. The players will be travelling nearly 5,000 miles in the group stages. The climate here, it can't overemphasise the difference in the climate between what the players have been training in Poland and here in Donetsk. It's extremely muggy, very warm, very hot for the players as they continue their training session behind me. But yes, there is cautious optimism that England can and will do well in this tournament.
Right, thank you.
And the Republic of Ireland open their campaign against Croatia tonight. We can go live to Poznan and speak to Andy Burton. Andy, just a reminder how the Republic will line up tonight.
Yeah, Hayley, it's the same kind of lineup that Giovanni Trapattoni likes to name it. It's the 4-4-2 system. Plenty of talk this week about whether they might go with an extra man in midfield. I think Robbie Keane will just be dropping a little bit deeper than usual, maybe trying to help out in that midfield role. So this is how they line up. The all-time record cap holder Shay Given plays in goal, despite having had a knee injury coming into the training camp, having a calf problem from Monday's game and blisters as well. So Given's in goal. Back four from left to right is Ward, Dunn, St Ledger and O'Shea. That back five hasn't conceded a goal in 8 games. In midfield, Glenn Whelan and Keith Andrews have to grind things out in the engine room. Damien Duff on one side, Aidan McGeady on the other, provide all of the service, as we said, for Kevin Doyle up front with Robbie Keane, who might just drop into a bit of a deeper role, a little bit like that kind of Francesco Totti role, if you like. Now, in terms of what Ireland will be facing today, plenty of guys who know the English game. They've got Eduardo up front, they've got Nikita Jelavic up front.